Pick up the DeWalt on your bench and read the small print under the logo. Not the yellow, the small print. Depending on the tool, you'll see either built in the USA with global materials or made in the USA with global materials on the box. And those words matter because DeWalt chose every one of them carefully, and every one is there for a legal reason. The Federal Trade Commission has a rule. If you want a stamp made in USA on a tool with nothing hanging off the end of it, all or virtually all of that tool has to be American. The parts, the processing, the labor. DeWalt doesn't say that. DeWalt says the other thing. And Milwaukee doesn't even reach for the footnote. The brand with a Wisconsin city in its name has been owned since 2005 by Tektronix Industries, which trades on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange under the ticker 0669. The headquarters really is in Brookfield, Wisconsin. The plants building most of that cordless line are in China and Vietnam. So here's the question. Nobody in the tool aisle asks out loud. If the two loudest American tool brands both need a lawyer's asterisk to say it, who's actually left? I went looking with plant addresses, ownership filings, and the FTC's own standard. The honest answer is 4. 4 brands still machining and assembling power tools in American factories, brands most homeowners have never touched, but that aerospace shops, steel erectors, and sheet metal professionals have trusted for generations. And halfway through, a 5th name enters the conversation, a brand found in nearly every Home Depot, one most people assume is unmistakably American. Yet behind the same logo and the same red color are 2 completely different companies. Stick around for that because it's the single most misunderstood tool brand in the country. And once you see the split, you can't unsee it. Start with DeWalt because DeWalt is the one everybody defends. Back in December of 2013, DeWalt announced it was bringing a slice of production back. Not all of it, a selection. And the company was upfront about where the parts were coming from. Brazil, China, the Czech Republic, Italy, Mexico, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Those tools would carry a label that said, built in the USA with global materials. Now here's the part that gets left out of every single video on this topic. That label exists for one specific reason, and it's not patriotism. The tools contain too many imported components to meet the FTC's standard for made in the USA labeling. That's it. That's the whole story. The asterisk is not a lie. The asterisk is a confession, and DeWalt has said out loud why they can't close that gap. Their own leadership pointed straight at the batteries. Lithium-ion cells are made overseas by facilities that have been doing it longer and better than anyone here. The electrical components, same problem. In their words, there are components and expertise that simply are not available in the United States. Think about what that actually means. The most valuable, most complicated, most expensive part of a modern cordless tool, the thing that makes it a cordless tool at all, cannot be sourced here. So you can build the housing here, you can wind the motor here, you can drive every screw here, and the moment you drop the battery in the box, you've failed the test. Now Milwaukee, and this one is going to sting because Milwaukee has the best American manufacturing story of any big brand, and it still doesn't count. They're real factories. Mississippi, Wisconsin, thousands of people, more than $250 million poured into Mississippi over 5 years. In 2023, they opened a hand tool plant in Wisconsin using American-sourced material. Nobody's making that up. So what actually comes out of those factories? Sawzall blades, hole saws, step drill bits, pliers, screwdrivers, hard hats, and a handful of hammers. Not the power tools most people assume are being built there. And for years, the internet insisted that the corded Sawzall, the original, the one Milwaukee invented in 1951, was still built in Mississippi. It was in the articles. It was in the factory tour write-ups. Then readers started photographing the tools on the shelf. Corded Sawzall, Super Sawzall, made in China, right on the housing. The publication that had reported it went back and pulled the claim. The M18 and M12 platforms, the tools that are the actual company, come out of China and Vietnam. So both of these companies are telling you the truth. Neither one is lying to you. They're just telling you the truth in the smallest print on the box, and you've been reading the logo instead. Which leaves an obvious question. If the two biggest, richest, most American-feeling tool brands on earth can't clear that bar, who can? At number 4 is Kett Tool, a Cincinnati, Ohio company quietly manufacturing specialized cutting tools in America, while most competitors moved production elsewhere. In 1940, a small outfit called the Kett Tool Company opened up to make specialty wood boring tools. That was the whole business plan. Then the war came, and the plan evaporated. Every bit of Kett's production capacity got pointed at the war effort. And this is where the company they are today actually got built. Kett's engineers ended up working alongside the armed forces and the aircraft manufacturers. And what came out of that was a line of drilling and cutting tools made specifically for aircraft maintenance. Cutting sheet metal on an airframe is not like cutting anything else. You cannot warp the panel. You cannot bend it. You cannot leave an edge that'll crack under vibration at altitude. So Kett learned how to cut metal without hurting it. And when the war ended, they never stopped. That's the company that still exists in Cincinnati. They make shears, nibblers, and saws, electric and pneumatic. And they own the whole category because they never left it. They bought the WPB shear line out of Racine, Wisconsin in 1970. They bought the Fenway nibbler line in 1996. Every time somebody else quit, Kett picked up the pieces. Take the KD440 double cut shear, a 4-pound tool capable of slicing through 14-gauge material while delivering the safety and convenience of double insulated operation. It cuts more than 150 inches a minute, and it does it by sending all the distortion into a thin waste strip that curls away so the piece you actually care about comes out flat and ready to fabricate. That is a very specific solution to a very specific problem, and it exists because somebody in 1943 had to fix an airplane. They stamped their own tools, made in USA, made in Ohio. They say it out loud, and they've been saying it for over 80 years. Now here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to throw you a revenue figure I can't prove. There's a number floating around business databases that puts Kett in the single-digit millions, and I believe it, and I still won't put it on screen because it's an estimate from a third-party data broker, not a filed statement, and I don't build videos on estimates. But you don't need the number. You already know the shape of it. There is a company in Cincinnati, Ohio, that has been winding motors and grinding blades since Franklin Roosevelt was president, and it is smaller than DeWalt's marketing department. That's number 4. It gets stranger from here. At number 3 is Hougen Manufacturing, operating from Swartz Creek, Michigan, where precision metalworking tools are built at the company's headquarters on Hougen Drive. That's not a coincidence. The company is old enough and rooted enough that the street is named after it. Hougen makes magnetic drills. If you've never used one, a mag drill is exactly what it sounds like. a drill with an electromagnet in the base. You slap it onto a steel beam, hit the magnet, and now the drill is not going anywhere. Not gravity, not vibration, not you leaning on it. That's how you put a clean hole through structural steel 40 feet up on a bridge deck, with nothing but a harness and your own judgment holding you there. You do not get to be sloppy building one of those. And here's how Hougen talks about it, in their own words, on their own website. They manufacture all of their magnetic drills, their 12,000 series cutters, and most of their other products in Michigan. I want you to notice that word because Hougen noticed it. They wrote it deliberately. They could have said everything. They said most. That's a company that has read the FTC rule, understands the $53,000 number, and decided it would rather be precise than impressive. And they'll tell you where the gap is if you go looking. There's a Hougen Ogura cordless hole puncher, 40-volt, punches steel, and Ogura is a Japanese partner. It's right there on their own social feed. They're not hiding it. Now think about what that means. This is a company that could get away with a lot more than they claim, and doesn't. Meanwhile, the individual mag drills, the HMD 927 with the 2-speed gearbox, punching holes up to 2 inches by 2 inches deep, carry a flat, unqualified, made in the USA on the product page. No asterisk, no global materials, no hedge. That's the difference between a company that markets made in America and a company that can actually say it. Which brings me to the part of this video I have been waiting to tell you, because there's a brand you already own sitting in your garage right now, and there's a very good chance you have no idea who actually built it. And here's the twist. The Ridgid name belongs to 2 completely different companies, and the one most people recognize is the orange and black Home Depot brand with its famous lifetime service agreement and an image that's about as American as a rusted-out pickup. Now walk into your shop and grab that orange Ridgid drill. If the model number ends with a V and an N, like P261VN, P263VN, or P238VN, you're looking at a tool that was built in Vietnam. The rest of the orange line comes out of China. And here's the part most people don't realize. It wasn't manufactured by Ridgid at all. It was built by Tektronix Industries, the Hong Kong-based company that licenses the Ridgid power tool brand, the same company that owns Milwaukee. TTI doesn't own the Ridgid name. They lease it. Emerson Electric owns Ridgid, and Emerson takes a royalty check to let TTI put that name on drills and saws and nailers and sell them exclusively at Home Depot, which raises an obvious question. If TTI is only licensing the Ridgid name, who actually owns it? The answer leads straight to 400 Clark Street in Elyria, Ohio. There's a 715,000 square foot plant in Elyria that has been running since 1943. It's owned by the Ridge Tool Company, which has been a wholly owned subsidiary of Emerson Electric since 1966. And that plant makes the red Ridgid, pipe wrenches, pipe cutters, threading machines, drain cleaning machines, the stuff a plumber actually shows up with. Same name, same logo, but 2 entirely different companies operating on 2 different continents. And there's a tell, if you know, to look for it. Check the warranty. The orange TTI power tools come with a lifetime service agreement. Register it in 90 days. Free parts for life. The red Emerson tools come with a full lifetime warranty. Now, before somebody runs to the comments, I'm not telling you every red Ridgid tool is American either. Some Ridgid press tools are built in Switzerland. The RP241 and the RP351 among them. That's real. and I'm not going to pretend otherwise just because it makes a cleaner story. At number 2 is Sioux Tools, based in Murphy, North Carolina, but its story begins in November 1914, when Swedish toolmaker Oscar Albertson and his young assistant Harold Jacobson founded Albertson and Company to build piston rings, spark plugs, and fuel-saving automotive products. It's 1914. The Model T is only 6 years old, and the modern power tool hasn't even been invented yet. Then, in early 1917, Albertson designs a valve lathe, a hand tool for seating engine valves, and that one product becomes the foundation the entire company gets built on. By the 1920s, they're producing some of the first handheld power tools anybody had ever seen. Air power comes in 1958, and in 1994, Snap-on buys them, which is how Sioux ended up on a street named Snap-on Drive in a mountain town in western North Carolina. Here's the sentence that matters, and it's theirs, not mine. From raw material to final assembly, Sioux tools have been designed, engineered, and manufactured in the USA for over 100 years. That Murphy plant produces pneumatic drills, screwdrivers, impact wrenches, grinders, and sanders, the industrial tools used to build the aircraft, ships, vehicles, and machinery that keep entire industries running. Now the caveat, and I want you to hear it from me instead of from a comment. Buyers have reported for years that Sioux has run an imported line alongside the domestic one. One guy cleaned out a pallet of discounted Sioux tools and found every single one was American-made, except the angle grinder, which was Japanese. That's a forum report, not a company statement, so take it as what it is. But notice how Sioux words things on their own site. They keep saying, our industrial line of tools. When a company says, our industrial line, they're telling you there's another line. So check the tool, don't check the logo. And that goes for every brand in this video, including my number 1. At number 1 is Dynabrade of Clarence, New York, whose story began in 1968 when Walter Welsh created the Dynafile, a narrow belt sander capable of reaching places other tools couldn't, and turned that innovation into Dynabrade the following year. By 1990, they've outgrown it and move into a 28,000 square foot building in Clarence. And then something happens that basically never happens to an American tool company. Between 1991 and 2008, they expand at that same Clarence site 6 separate times. 28,000 square feet becomes 155,000. Not a new plant in Mexico, not a partnership in Dongguan, 6 expansions, 1 address. They hit 100 employees in 1995, 300 by 2017. They ship to more than 90 countries. Sanders, grinders, polishers, die grinders, percussive tools, dust extraction. If you've ever seen a photo of somebody sanding a wind turbine blade or a fighter jet fuselage, there's a real chance you are looking at a Dynabrade in their hands. And the industrial air tools carry Made in USA printed right on the tool, backed by a lifetime warranty on those tools specifically, but that's not why they're number 1. In 2021, Dynabrade bought Manth Manufacturing, a company that had been supplying them for years. Stop and think about that. For 30 years, the entire American tool industry did the exact opposite. You take your supply chain and you push it offshore and you push it further. And eventually, you're not a manufacturer anymore. You're a logo with a purchase order. And DeWalt told you what happens at the end of that road. The components and the expertise are just not available here anymore. Dynabrade looked at that road and drove the other way. They took a supplier and pulled it inside the building. That is not a marketing decision. That is a company deciding in 2021, in the middle of a global supply chain that begs you not to, that it was going to keep making things. One honest note before we move on, because I said I'd give you the caveats. In 2025, Dynabrade launched a new line of electric tools called Nitro E. I could not verify where those are built, so I'm not going to tell you. The Made in USA claim I can stand behind, and the one Dynabrade puts its own lifetime warranty behind, is the industrial air tools. Check the tool, not the logo, every time. So here's the uncomfortable ending. Notice what these four companies have in common. Kett makes shears. Hougen makes magnetic drills. Sioux makes pneumatic tools. Dynabrade makes sanders and grinders. Air, metal, motors, and castings. None of these companies are fighting the battery war, and that's exactly why they're still here. Because a modern cordless tool isn't really a drill or an impact driver anymore. It's a battery pack, a motor controller, a circuit board, and a collection of components sourced from a supply chain that took decades to build somewhere else. You can open a factory in North Carolina. You can hire American workers. You can machine housings and assemble products. What you can't do overnight is recreate an entire supplier ecosystem. That's why companies like DeWalt end up printing those four words on the box, built in the USA with global materials, not because they don't want to build more here, because some of the most critical components still come from overseas. That's not villainy, that's arithmetic. And it's also why these four companies survived. They operate in corners of the industry that never became dependent on lithium-ion batteries, motor controllers, and global electronic supply chains. Pneumatic sanders don't need battery cells. Magnetic drills don't need imported battery packs. Sheet metal shears don't depend on a controller board sourced halfway around the world. And if you know a brand I missed, a real one, with a factory, an address, and a legitimate claim to American manufacturing, put it in the comments and bring the evidence with it. I read them. Because if there's another company still building tools on American soil, I'd rather learn about it than keep looking in the wrong place.